and I will be doing the following subjects in few months. Okay, so the class will be daily, every day. Unless I'm busy, I will mention that I'm busy on any day. Otherwise, the class will be every day. So the topics which we will take is first is JavaScript. So this will be the complete front-end course, and it is free. Anyone can join freely. So what topics we will be taking? We'll be taking JavaScript and React.js and Next.js and data structures plus algorithms. And so these are the major topics which I will be taking. And the things will be too much interactive. So everyone should have computer ready, because many times previously I was explaining the things and people used to do it. This time there is a change. Here I will first ask students to do, and then I may do the same thing. So there is a change. So first student will do, and then I will do. So in my previous lectures, I generally used to do, and students follow the same thing. So here, some things I will do first, but most of the things student will do first. So I have 21 years of experience in web development. It is combination of front end and back end, mostly on the front end. So we will be doing the front end mostly in this course. Plus Node.js also, though Node.js is the back end, but since it is tied to JavaScript, we'll be doing Node.js also. And the class timings will be 7 p.m. PST or 7:30 a.m. IST. And how long it will go, that I don't know. Depending on the class topic, we may have half an hour session, 1 hour session, or it may go longer also. Any questions on this one? So I am right now in USA. I work for the company, different companies. I do contract job in different companies. I, exact company name I don't want to mention now, but I do it for different companies. Any questions before we proceed further? So this sessions will be interactive. So I'll be asking questions frequently, and whoever are in the class, they have to answer it. And sometime I will ask you to share the screen to see how you are coding. And so you have to share your screen and show how you are coding. So that will also come into the picture in some time. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I'll start. I'll start the session now. Let me start Visual Studio. So the editor which I use is this one, Visual Studio Code. So does everyone have this editor? And before I go further, I will ask you everyone what they do currently. Okay. Okay. So Santosh, what you do currently? Where do you live? Can you tell me?
Sorry, sir. Again, I didn't get you. Can you come again?
Yeah, means my question is what do you do currently and where are you located?
I'm from India. I'm working as a back-end engineer. Primarily, I'm working on Java and Java, Spring Boot, and microservices.
Where in India you live?
In India, I'm from Telangana.
Okay. What about Vikas?
Thank you.
Yeah. Vikas, where do you live? What do you do?
Yeah, hi, I am Vikas, currently living in Kolkata, West Bengal, and working for Tata Consultancy Service as a Java developer.
Okay. So this course will be especially on the front end. So even if you're back end, you want to learn front end, you can learn it. And
Yeah, yes.
and notes will be, I will just publish the notes on one of the website. You can refer that notes anytime you want. And also I will share the video link, the recording to the people who missed the class or who wants to revise the class. Kate, where are you working now? Madam Kate, are you there? I cannot hear you. Your mic is not working or what? Okay, maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, right now, good, right? I'm currently on bench. I'm looking for a new project right now.
Okay, yeah. So looks like a lot of people are, you know.
Right now the market is
The market is
not
little down.
not good.
Right. So yeah, hopefully market will go up soon, and you may get more opportunities. Till then, you can prepare yourself more in this subject.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start the thing. So I hope everyone has Visual Studio Code. If you don't have, you can download it, and there are some extensions which you need to download. I will let you know which extensions to download. So before I ask you which extension, so Santosh and Vishal, Vikas, do you have Visual Studio Code?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, Santosh?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. So if you have, that's fine. So we'll talk about this one in some other sessions because I already discussed in previous classes, and I will do it again when in few days. There's a lot of things we have to do, and this is not a priority for today to download this extension. We can work without extensions also. Okay, so let me open new folder. Let me start with August 2024. Yes, I'm doing it here. Okay. So here I will be we'll create different folders. Folders can also be in your computer. So let me create first folder which we will start today. So today we'll work on some of the concepts of promises. So I will create a folder called as promises. So in that folder, I'll create a new file. Maybe I will say p1 or p01.js. Since we are working on JavaScript, all the file will be .js, something like that. In React, once we start the React, we will using JSX file. But now we will use .js because we'll be studying the promises. Okay. So this is the P01. So today I will start with some basic things, and then we will go little bit advanced. Okay, so everyone knows little bit of JavaScript, I believe so. If you don't know very basic JavaScript, then we can take that also. But I hope so. Santosh and Vikas, do you know little bit of JavaScript? Or? I know you are backend guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have basic.
Yeah, I know JavaScript.
Yeah, even if you don't know, you can ask me in between. If you don't understand, then we can drill that topic more. So though we have 4 people here, but video recording will be shared and many people will watch after this session. And let's start. So I will create one function. I will name that function as get data. Okay, so this is the function, and I can call this function like I can call like this here. So in JavaScript, when we have the function and I want to run that function, I will run it by this parenthesis bracket. Whenever I say parenthesis bracket, that means this function will run. If I don't put this parenthesis here, then this function will not run. So for example, I'll show you. If I do console.log of get data only, since I'm not using this parenthesis here, it will not run this function, but it will only show the string part of this function. So let's run it and we'll see. Okay, let's go to promises folder, and then I will run this file. So if you see, when I run this file, it says the function get data. Okay, so it's not in running this function, it only gives a string value of this function, that there is some function like that. For example, if I put some console.log hi and I run it again, though you cannot see the hi, but this is the string value of the function is shown here. It's not running this console.log because we are not invoking the function. We are just calling this function without this round bracket. If I want to run this function, I have to invoke it. So to invoke it, we can start with the parenthesis bracket. So when I put this parenthesis, that means this function will run and all the statement under it will run inside it. So let's run it now. Now you see my p01.js is running here with the hi command, hi value, because I did console.log of hi. I can also put this function in the HTML file, for example, index.html. So for example, I can also include this file source of p01.js. Then I can run it in the browser also. For example, let's run it in the browser. Okay, so let's run this in the here. So I run this file in the browser, and you can see this hi is here. So let's refresh the page. You can see the hi here because I put the console.log hi here, and I'm calling this get data function. Now let's try to see what we can do. Let's say if I want to pass some value here in this function, for example, some ID, data ID. Okay, and here I'm passing that data ID 1, and then I can display this data ID here in the console. Let's go here and refresh it. So I see data ID 1. I can pass 2 also, and I can see 2. Now I want that I can also return some value here. For example, I can return something data ID plus 5. So what 4? So whatever data ID I pass, I can add 4 in it and return it. So I can also say x equal to x. So now you can see whatever I pass, it will add 4 and give it here. Okay, but this is not the purpose of this exercise. Whatever I want to show is not that purpose. So I call this function with some data ID, and I want to run something inside that function which will display after a few seconds. So to display after a few seconds, I can say set timeout. And inside set timeout, I can write an arrow function. And how many seconds after that this function should run. So for example, I can say after 2 seconds. Now, when I write inside this function console.log, data is data ID. So what will happen when I run this function? After 2 seconds, I will see this message, data is data ID. So here I'm waiting. After 2 seconds, I can see data is 2. Initially, when I was putting this outside this set timeout, it was showing me immediately. But if I put this set timeout, then it is showing this console statement after 2 seconds. So my purpose is only of this one, that after I'm done 2 seconds, I should be able to see data, some message, whatever is shown here. Let's say I pass 1, then it should show 1. If I pass 2, it should show 2. Now, tell me one thing. How will I do? Let's say if I pass 1, 2, 3. If I pass 1, 2, and 3, and if I refresh after 2 seconds, I will see all 3 coming together, 1, 2, and 3. But I don't want like this 1, 2, and 3 after together. I want after 1 is done, I should call 2, and after 2 is done, I should call 3. That way I want it. So how to make this function, or how to call this function so that I can call 1, after 1 is done, I should call 2, after 2 is done, I should call 3. Can anyone tell me how can I do that?
You should make that function as synchronous.
Can you speak loudly? One second. One second. I'm not able. Let me increase. Yeah. What did you say?
We should call that function synchronously.
So how will you call it synchronously? What change you will do here? This is synchronous. I'm calling 1, 2, 3. Vikas, do you know how we can call?
We can call like set timeout 2 millisecond, again 3 millisecond and 4 millisecond. We can go like this.
Okay, you're saying when I call this 1, it will be 2, and when I call this, it will be 4, because it is 4. And then for 3, it will be 6 seconds, right? Yeah, but this function, this 2, I cannot change it. I cannot change. I can put some more logic inside it, but this 2 will not be changed. So this is the constant kind of thing. The only thing is that after this, after 2 seconds, I have to somehow call this one. So this 2 seconds is not changeable because this is the API. API coming. Let's say this. Consider this part as the API. So API can give in 2 seconds or 3 seconds, and that I cannot control. Kate, do you have any idea?
No.
Okay. So since this is asynchronous call, whenever I use a set timeout, it is called asynchronous call. Asynchronous. So it 2, 3, it will not wait for the one. It will also run this simultaneously. So if I pass 1, 2, 3, all 3 will run simultaneously, because it is not that after 1 is over, then this will be called, or after 2 is over, this will be called, because this is the asynchronous call because of set timeout. So we cannot control that part. Though we have written all 3 together, we cannot control that after this we should do some kind of wait and then call this. So we cannot do that. So to do this, we should call some callback function. Let's say we call this callback function. So in addition to data which we are passing, I will pass some callback function. And when this set timeout is done, then I will call this callback here. So let's say after 2 seconds, this set timeout is done, and then I will call the callback function. And in this callback function, I will pass this get data to. So I will not pass this get data to directly here. I will pass it in the callback function, so that when the get data 1 is done, that means this part is done, then callback will be called. So let's not consider 3 for now, and I will call this get data in this callback function. So in addition to 1, I will also pass callback function, that is some arrow function here, and in this arrow function, so I have to call this callback function. That means I have to pass this get data again with the 2. Can I do like this? Can I do this? Can anyone tell me? I will pass the get data like this. Is it possible to pass like this? Can anyone tell me? Is it right, or is it possible to do like this? Santosh, is it possible to do like this? It is. Okay, Kate, why? Why it is possible to do, or means what you think? What will happen if I pass this? Will it call here?
Yes, I
Okay,
think
you
so.
believe so. Okay, you believe so. This is will come here. What about Santosh? What do you think?
I'm guessing no.
Then why no? Why no?
I think we should call it anonymously.
Anonymously means what should I do?
Like the way you did by passing arrow function.
Arrow function. Okay. So let me answer this to Kate. So Kate, this is a callback function. So that means this is the definition of the function, and it is invoked here. But if I'm passing like this, that means it is invoked here only, not here. So when I pass like this, because this has parentheses, that means this has parentheses, that means it will be invoked immediately, not at this point. So if I want to invoke at this point, I should put this part inside another arrow function or function. So because this is a callback is a function, so it should be this arrow function, and I pass get data here. So what will happen when I call this callback will take this definition of the function, and when set timeout is done, then callback is invoked. That means this function is invoked by this parenthesis. So that means when the one is done here, we call this function will be the callback, and this will be invoked, and that means get data is called with the 2 number, and then we will show 2 number here. So this will run, that means after 1 is done, we call this function, which will run get data again, and it will run the data ID with the 2. Since here I'm not passing any callback, comma, I'm not passing callback, so this will give some error because callback is not passed. So he will see, oh, callback is not there. So we have to check if callback is there, then only run the callback. So one way to check is if callback, then run the callback, or there is a short form of that. That short form is we can put question mark and dot. Question mark and dot means that if callback exists, then only invoke it. Otherwise, don't invoke it. So this is a short form of the if condition. So now let's run this again. Let's run this again. I will refresh the page. So data 1 is called, and then data 2 is called. So what happened now? Data, after 2 seconds, we call data 1. And then after 2 seconds, we call data 2. Let's see if I want to pass data 3 also. I will copy this arrow function, and I will pass as an arrow function here to the get data 2. Here instead of 2, I will pass 3. Now let's see what happened. Let's refresh. After 2 seconds, we get data 1. After 2 seconds, we get data 2. After 2 seconds, we get data 3. So we have seen that we have get data 1, and then we have the callback function, which is called after 1 is done. Then we call data 2, and then we have arrow function, which is called after 2 is done. Then we have the 3, and after 3 we don't want to call any callback function, so we are not putting any callback function here. So that means if I want to do something asynchronously, and after that asynchronous is done, we have to call the callback function. This is called the callback function. And this callback function is only called when particular AJAX call is done, and then only we call this one. That way, after 1 is done, we call 2, and after 2 is done, we call 3. Is that clear? Is this part clear?
Yes.
Okay, now this, you are seeing that we have 1 callback, and then we have 2 callback, and if we have more details, if we have to call more, let's say 4 or 5 calls, then it will be 4 here. Then if I do more, and I can call 5 here. So you see how the things are going inside. And this callback is there, again callback is there, again callback is there, again callback is there. This inside callback, this is called callback hell. Hell means because it has multiple callbacks coming, so it is kind of callback hell, where 1 callback is called, and then again second callback is called, depending on the circumstances, again callback is called. So a lot of callbacks is called, and code become dirty, and it will give a lot of errors when we use this in production, because we have to tackle each callback separately, and there may be a lot of issues using that part. So this is not a good code, but previously people used to do it, and now they are called callback hell, and people try to avoid this callback hell. So let me write down something about callback hell. It is called nested callbacks stacked below one another, forming a pyramid structure. So see, this is a pyramid structure we are creating because of the callbacks, a lot of callbacks. This style of programming is difficult to understand and manage. So if we use a lot of callbacks like this, then it is difficult to understand what's going on, because this is a simple 2-line code. So you are able to understand what's going on. But when you go with the live production version, then you will see a lot of issues coming, because you will not be able to understand where exactly is the problem going on. So this is the callback hell, and people try to avoid this callback hell. So, but this is the example of callback hell, and I will put it in one of the URL, and share with you, so that after this class you can revise the topic. Okay, let me put in one of the URL and I'll share that URL with you. Okay, let me see where is the URL. Yeah, let me put in one of the URL and I'll share you the URL.
So how do we work on this callback hell?
Yeah, so we will be doing now how to improve that, because callback hell is a problem. We should not use it. We should avoid it. So we should be using some different ways to do that. This callback hell is not the right idea. Okay, let me put this one. Let me copy and put it here. Second, I'm creating one page where I will put this callback hell, so you can. So next part will be how to go ahead with the callback hell. Okay, I created this. Let me create the category. Okay, I will share the URL with you in the chat, and let me know if you can see that page. Okay, let me share in the chat. Everybody can see the chat, right? I will put the URL. Okay, don't use it HTTPS. Sorry, let me delete it. Let me use it without HTTPS. Okay. So everybody open this URL and see if you are able to see it. I put it in the chat. I will also open it here. Yeah, so this is the callback hell. And this is a definition which I written, and can you see this one in your computer?
I can see.
Okay. Anyone else? Santosh, Vikas, Ajay, Ajit, Ajaj. What is your name, Ajaj? How do you spell? Okay.
Yeah,
Vikas.
Judge.
Ajaj. Can you see this callback hell
Yes.
URL?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So here, like this, I will be creating all the notes, so you can see that one and you can read it. Okay. Okay. So first, one of the links which I created is this one. Okay. Let me write on one note kind of thing what we did. So this is the URL. First URL we did it. Now let's move further a little bit now. Since callback hell is not good idea, but we should know what is the callback hell. That it's a nested callback, one callback inside that we have another callback inside that, and another callback forming a pyramid structure, and this is difficult to understand and manage. So now, what is the next another output? Okay, so let's go to create new file. p02.js. Okay, so instead of callback, we should use the promise. Now, What is promise? So let's create one promise. I will use var for now. Otherwise, we can use constant or we can use let also. But for now, I will use var. I will change it to constant letter. So we have to create a new promise. Let me put some different variable name. For example, A. I'll just name it as A. 1 second. Okay. So I will put some variable name A. I don't want to confuse. Now I have to create a promise. How to create a promise? It is called a new promise. We have to write new promise. And then there is a parenthesis. Now in this promise, we have arrow function, like this arrow function. And this will get two parameters. This promise will get two parameters. One is called resolve and another is called reject. One is called resolve, another is called reject. Now, here I can write down the console.log. I am in promise. Okay. And I can also see what is this A consist of. I'll also type it as console.log of A is A. So I'm putting this A here and inside this promise. So this promise is something, we have to create this promise. And this promise is something where you can say that it successfully completes the promise or it rejects the promise. So promise is you're asking something to promise me, something. And in return, it will say, okay, I promise you that I will give you some result. If it is good result, I will resolve it and you will get a promise of good result. And I can reject it, then you will get the promise of bad result. That way, you can do it appropriately something. Let's say if I reject, that means some error is there. You can show the error to the user. And if resolve is there, that means you can show something good thing to the user. So we have to use a promise. Promise always have arrow function inside it, and it can resolve and reject value is there. Right now I'm not using resolve and reject, so it is not the complete thing now, but I will be using it, completing it in some time. Before I use the resolve and reject, I want to show what is happening here. So instead of P01, let me call P02. Okay, let's go into the browser and see what's going on. So I will refresh the page. You will see it's saying I'm in the promise. That means this statement, I am in the promise. And A is there. And you will see the state, there's a promise as the state of pending. So it has three states. One is called pending, and one is called resolved state, and one is called rejected state. Since I am not using resolve and reject, so it is currently in the pending state only. Okay, if I use something, then it will change the state. So for example, I'll show you. I use the resolve. Okay, I have to invoke this resolve as a function. So you will see the promise is in the fulfilled state. Resolved state means fulfilled state. So here it shows the fulfilled because I use the resolve. So I'm getting the fulfilled state. I can also use reject. Then you will see it is in the rejected state. And so there are three states. One was the pending. If I'm not using the reject, it's a pending state. So let me write down here. If I am not using or I don't. There are three states. One is pending. One is fulfilled. What is a fulfilled state? Let me use it all. Okay, fulfilled. And third is rejected. So initially it is in the pending state if I don't use resolve and reject. And when I use the resolve, it goes into the fulfilled state. And when it goes to if I use the reject, it goes into the rejected state. So there are the three states of this promise, depending on what you are using it. What will happen if I use resolve and reject both? Can anyone tell me what will be the state for that if I use resolve and reject both? Can anyone tell me? Just guesswork. Just do some guesswork. Whether it will be fulfilled or rejected.
It will be rejected.
Rejected. Okay. Any other answer?
Rejected.
Okay. Let's see what's going on. I will refresh it again. So you will see it is showing fulfilled, not rejected. Because once I resolve it, it will not go to the reject state. If I put reject at the top and resolve afterwards, so once it rejected, it will not go to resolved state. Okay, now if I refresh the page, it is rejected because rejected is at the top. Once I reject it, it will not change the state to resolve. Okay, so that's the thing. Whatever first you do, it is the final one. It is the one which it will take it. Is that clear? This part is clear. Whatever you take first, it will do that, and then it will not change the state. Once it has some status, it will not change the status. Now you will also see here, I have three things. Prototype. Prototype is promise because we are using promise. State is rejected because I use the reject first. And then the result. Result is right now undefined. But if I want some result, I can put it in this state. So let me only use one for now. I will put something here. For example, mango. So now if I open this, you will see the result is mango. So whatever you put in the reject or resolve, that will be the result coming here. Okay, so let's try to do the resolve now. So it is fulfilled, but the result is mango. So result will come whatever you put it in this resolve. Now let's try to use this promise in this get data function. So I will call this get data here function. So instead of so here this set timeout is there, but set timeout, I will use this set timeout, okay, inside the promise. Okay, so let me. So what I will do? Okay, let me do this one. So I'll start with the new promise. And it has the resolve and reject state. And inside this promise, I will put the set timeout function. I don't need the callback right now because we are trying to avoid the callback. So let's not call the callback. But what I will do, I can write everything inside this function, but right now I will return this promise. Okay, so when I'm calling this get data, it is nothing but, when I'm invoking this get data, it is nothing but it is a promise which we have, which is similar to this one. So what I will do right now, let's say var result equal to get data, and I'll pass 1 here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we are calling get data, and I am right now not using any of the resolve or reject. I am just controlling after 2 seconds, and let me comment the top one. 1 second. I can do. Let's comment this one. Okay, so what I am doing here, I was assigning to A, and here I am assigning to the result. So it is kind of similar thing. But here I'm not using resolve or reject here right now. I'm just calling the set timeout inside the promise. Previously, we were calling the set timeout without the promise. Now we are calling the set timeout with the promise. So let's refresh it. You will see after 2 seconds, we are able to show this data is 1. And the result, since I'm not using anything, it is in the pending state. Whenever we call this promise, initially it is in the pending state. And after some time, it will become fulfilled or rejected based on what you are calling it. So here, since I'm passing get data 1, initially it is in the pending state. And I can also resolve it here. Let's say I resolve it. Now if I refresh, so even if I resolve it, you see it's in the pending state. Can anyone tell me why? Though I resolved it, but it is in the pending state. Can anyone tell me why? So I call this promise. Initially we saw when I call the resolve, it was in the fulfilled state. And when I was rejecting, it was in the rejected state. But here, I'm calling the same promise. I'm using the resolve also, but then also when I use this result, it's in the pending state. Can anyone tell me anything? Okay, let me see. Because you did not pass anything in the resolve. Okay, so it doesn't matter if we pass anything inside the resolve or not. When I say resolve, that means it is resolved. It doesn't matter if I pass something here or not. Let's say even if I pass something here, mango, then also it's in the pending state. Okay, can anyone tell me why it's like that? Or you don't know? What is your answer? You don't know or you know? Okay, so remember whatever I have to.
Sir,
yeah. Yeah,
sir,
tell me.
if you resolve after the we can say set timeout, then it's going to be fulfilled.
Right. So I don't know how to spell judge or whatever it is. Okay, so remember whatever I am showing you here or here, try to understand it properly, because after few things I will be giving some test exercise. So you have to do it yourself. So if you don't pay attention, you may not be able to do it. Okay, so the thing is that this result initially, because of set timeout, after set timeout, that means after 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 2000 is 2 seconds. After 2 seconds, we call the resolve. So this result comes immediately, which is in the pending. And after 2 seconds, when we run this resolve part, then this state will go to fulfill, which you cannot see it here, because here we can see only the result, which is immediately, which we are getting it. Immediately we are getting it as the pending state. So let me show you again how it will work. So let's say here I am using timeout. Okay, let me use timeout here also. And I call 2 seconds, and I will put this inside this one. Okay. So here also I cannot show it now, but let's try to let me try to explain what's going on. But I will show you when we will do some more things. Right now we are not reached to that state. Okay, so what's happening when we call this result? It will have only this promise part. And this promise part is always in the pending state, unless we go inside the set timeout and call the resolve. When we run the resolve part, then only the state of this promise will change to fulfilled or rejected based on what we are calling it. So since we are right now logging only immediately, not after 2 seconds, that's why you are able to see it in the pending state. Now how to use this one means, let's say, how to really use this promise. This promise is created here. We see that result is something promise. Okay, let me show you. So result is something promise, and data is coming. Since I put the console log data here, so we are able to see it. But for example, let's say I just passed this data ID here in the resolve. So how to use the result of this resolve, or how to use the promise which we created practically. So this is only we are calling the promise, but we are not really using it. We are not using this resolve part in our code. So I can say your data is ID. So I want to use this data. I want to use this data somewhere in my code. So let's say refresh it. It's only show the result promise. We are not able to see this result part, whatever result part is this one. So how to use the promise? So promise is always used in this way. I have to say result dot then. Then means whenever something comes from this promise, whether is a resolve or reject, when something comes from the promise, then only do something here. So we have to use dot then. When I use dot then, that means whenever I use this resolve part, it will go inside this dot then. So here I can use arrow function, and here I will say response. Some response is coming, and response is nothing but what we are putting inside this resolve part. So here I can say console.log response. So I created this promise. Let me constant this. Okay, I created this promise here, which is in the pending state. After 2 seconds, it resolved, and that resolved will come inside the then part. And inside then I have to use the arrow function, and I can then do the console.log. So whatever is resolved here will come here in this console.log. How to use the promise? To create the promise, and then we have to use dot then. Dot then means whenever the response comes from the promise, that is this response, then we can get this response here and we can display it here. So let me refresh it. So after 2 seconds, I get the response, but it's not showing it the correct way. Okay, because this is not the right way. I have to use plus sign. Okay, so now after 2 seconds, I get the data is 1. So how to use the promise? To use the promise, I have to use the dot then. We created this promise here. This promise, new promise is returned, and we created this promise which is in the pending state. And to use this promise, that means whenever it is resolved, we have to use dot then. And dot then means whenever the promise is resolved, then we get the response, some response, and that response I print it here. I can put this response anything. I can put mango. So generally this response will come from the API. Generally this response will come from the API. This part will come from the API. We have to just use it like this. We have to get it like this. But whatever we put in the resolve, that can be accessed in the response part. But what happens if I reject it? If I reject it, then it will not come inside dot then. Let me refresh it. So now you don't see it in the dot then because you don't see this console.log and it is going in some kind of error path. So to access this reject part, we have to, after dot then, I have to use dot catch. But that part I will do it later after a few minutes. Let's concentrate on then only. So right now we'll not use reject, we'll use only the resolve. So whenever this is resolved, it will go inside dot then, and we can see in the response like this. Our promise is there and data is 1. Now we got this response here, right? That is one response. Now I can call this again inside this dot then. Result 2, for example, and I pass it with the 2. Okay, and then I can say result 2 dot then. I put arrow function, and here there will be response 2. I can name it anything. I will put response 2, and I can console this. Response 2 is response 2. So what I did, after I did the first one, I call this response 2 here. I call with the get data 2. So first one is done. Then I call this second one. And then again I did dot then. So first we got that one data is 1. And then we got response 2, data is 2. So we did same thing which we did with the get data, but this is something different way of doing this thing. We called promise and we use a dot then, and then we again call that dot then here. Now, instead of doing this here, let me remove it. Let me delete it here. Instead of doing this here, I can also do like this. Response 1 is, let me put response 1. So instead of what I did previously a few minutes back, I can also return this one, get data with a 2 number. What I did, after 1 is done, I return the get data 2. Let me see what's happening. So after 2 seconds, we get the response 1, data is 1. So what I did, I call this function again and return it here. So I use dot then, and then I return the get data 2 here. One second. Okay, sorry. So what happened? Is let's not go to this part. This part I will do next time because it's a little complex. I don't want to explain this today. Let's go to previous one, what I showed you, which is simple one, right? So what we did, we call the get data, we return the promise, and after we get some result, we console that result here, and then I call the get data to again. Similarly, I called it here. I called it get data to here. I called it here, and then I called the then again to show this one here. So this is similar to the callback hell only, but it's a different way of using the callback hell, using the promise. We are trying to make this callback hell into a simpler version. We started using the promise, but still things are not very simpler, but at least we should know how to use the promise. We will be modifying this function and this result in more better way so that it will become easier, not like callback hell, which we got it here. This is also kind of callback hell only, but it is little bit in a different way. Okay, so we have to make this more simpler also, which we will do soon, maybe today or in the next session, but at least I want to show you the promise part. So before I go further, is this promise part clear? That we use the promise, we do the set timeout, and we resolve it. When we resolve it, it will come inside this response, and then we can call it again. So for now, if I delete this part, at least, is this part clear? I will not call second time, only the first time to understand the promise part. Any question on this part? Any question on this part? So we call the promise. We understood when we call the promise, either way to call resolve or reject. If it goes reject, that means some error is there. If I call resolve, that means resolve is there. And we call this function with the one value, and then to use the promise, we use .then. When I use the .then, I will get an arrow function, and in the arrow function, we always get some response, which is nothing but what you pass in the resolve part. Okay, so let me put it in some notes kind of thing, and then we will go further. Okay, let's create a notes for this one. Okay, I believe that you have to practice also a little bit to, 1 second. Let me create another post. I will share with you. These states. To this one. Let me share the URL for this one. Okay, let me know if that second URL works for you. I created another URL. So this is, we are doing promise chain, though we have not completely done the chain part. This is how we do the promise part, and this is how we created this function, and we call this promise using .then. Here also I can call the .then with this part, but right now here we are doing it. Let's do the then here. Let me show example of then here. So here I put this function and we are calling then. Whenever we are using promise, we can use the then. So here I can call a dot then, and I put arrow bracket, and here some response will come. What response will come here in this case? Can anyone tell me? So when this R will come, what will be the value of R in this example? Mango. Since I am passing mango here, so mango will come here. So let me run this and I'll show you. So you will see R is mango. Let me copy this. So whenever we use promise, how to use the promise? By using dot then. Without dot then, we cannot use the promise. So let me put it in the notes also. Let me fix the notes. So let me refresh the page. Okay, so here you see, I created the promise and then I used then. So always remember, whenever we use a promise, I can use that promise with dot then. Without dot then, this promise is useless because I cannot use the promise. So whenever I want to use the promise, I have to use a dot then. Whatever variable I use, I have to use dot then. If I don't use dot then it has no meaning in it. Is it clear? Is this part clear? Okay. Okay, let me give you one exercise. I want you to do that exercise and I will know what. So you, in this exercise, you have to use this promise like this only, whatever I have used this like this. And you have to use then if possible, if you want to do. So I will put this exercise here in the chat and you have to complete it and put your solution inside the chat so I can see. So I put the exercise here in the chat and you have to do, you have to work on that, all the parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me create a file here also. I will create a new file called as E01, that is exercise 1. And I will put the question here. So whatever we have done till now, this is a practical exercise for that. And you have to try, you have to try to complete all the 5 steps. So let me know if you can do or if you're stuck in anywhere, then I will help with you. Okay, so let me know, first go through the question and see if you understood everything. If you don't understand anything, ask me that question and then we will go on doing it one by one. So I will be doing it here. You have to help me in solving this problem. So just go through 5 statements and in 1 minute and then I will start writing it, and I want someone to help me in completing these 5 steps. Okay, so let's go by one. Print out the program started at the start of the code. What should I do? What is the first statement I should write here?
we can console log program structure.
Right. Who answered it?
Manpreet.
Manpreet. Okay. Yeah. So this one is the program started. Since I have to print out this statement, I will do console.log of this one. Okay. So this is the first step. Now we have to create a promise that is all after 3 seconds. Now, can anyone write down in the chat or tell me what should I do here? Okay, we don't have to write down the get data function right now. We can directly write down the new promise. Okay, yeah. So here let's start with the constant. I can name anything, maybe promise or p1 or p0 or p equal to, you can name any variable name. And here it's saying create a promise. I will create a promise and I'll put an arrow function inside it, and I'll say resolve and reject. And here after 3 seconds it should resolve. So here I will put set timeout. I will put arrow function inside it and put 3000 because it's a 3 seconds. And after 3 seconds it should resolve because it says resolve. Okay, resolve after 3 seconds. Right now I'm not putting anything here, but I can put it whenever I want anything inside also. So this step is also done. Now, this logout means the console.log. Log out the promise while it's in the pending state. Now what should I put it here? Console.log of p. Because since p is initially in the pending state till it resolve, so p will be in the pending state. So it's saying log out the promise while it's in the pending state. Okay, now I want other person also to answer. Manpreet has answered this statement, console.log of p. Since p is in the pending state, whenever the promise is created, so we have to console at the pending state. Log out the promise while it's in the pending state. Let's run this till now. So it says program started and the promise is in the pending state. Now what? Print out the program in progress as well. So what should I do here for the line number 4? I want Manpreet is answering. I want other also should answer. What should I do? What should I write here after on line number 20? So we have to print out program in progress. So I will do console.log of this one, program in progress. After that, I have to print out the program complete when the promise completes after 3 seconds. That means after the result, I have to print program complete. So what should I write down here?
Similarly, we can use like p dot then and console.log that.
Right. Any other answer? Kate? You cannot write down resolve. Resolve is already here. You cannot put resolve here. Okay? So Kate, this resolve cannot work.
Oh, okay.
Everyone write down in the chat. What should I write on here for this part? Okay, everyone write down in the chat. What should I put it here to print this one? Resolve can only come inside the promise. This resolve can come only inside the promise and reject. I cannot use this resolve again here. So set timeout is here. So we cannot use set timeout here again. Set timeout already done. We have to write down this program complete when the promise is completed. That means when this promise is completed, then I have to write down this program complete. So then how you use then? You have to write down the statement. If you say use then, I don't know how to write then. Then what should I do? You have to explain me how to write then. So p dot then response. Yeah. So Santosh has written. Manpreet has also written correctly. So here what we have to do? P dot then, and then here I can write down the arrow function. I can write down the arrow function. I get some response, but since here I don't need any response, so I can avoid response also here. But in reality, we get response. And here I can write down console.log, program complete. So what will happen that p.then, and then once the p is done with resolve or reject, we can go inside this part, inside then, and let's run it. So it says initially it says program started, then it is a pending state, then the program in progress, which is here, this part, and after 3 seconds, it says a program complete, which is inside this one. Before I run it more, if I write down this p.then again, what will happen? Whether it will run this part or it will run this part. Before running, I just want to know. If I do p.then and then also do p.then again, whether it will run this one or it will run this one.
First one, I think program complete.
Okay, you think first one. What about others? Kate, whether it will run this one or it will run this one. Santosh is saying first one. Kate is saying first one. Ole, what about you? First one. Bhakti, are you able to understand this one? Bhakti, can you answer it?
What's up?
Yeah, I am asking Manpreet, Bhakti. I am asking Bhakti. There's another person, Bhakti. Are you able to understand what I am writing? Yes, okay. Okay, so many people are saying first one. Let's run it and see what happens. So you will see both are there, program complete and program complete too. So if you write multiple p.then, all will run together. Okay, so it doesn't, if I write down third also, it will run third time also. So this p, as many times as you write .then, it will run that part again and again. Okay, is that clear, this part? Okay, sure. So let me put this in some page so that you can do it later. Whenever you have time, you can go through the notes kind of thing. Okay, let me turn down one more one. I'll create one more page. Promise exercise 1. Okay. Okay, let me put the category. Okay, let me give you the URL. So I'll put the URL in the chat. Okay, let me put this in the here also. Where is it one? Okay. This is the file stream. Okay, I will. This is the third page. Promise exercise 1. This is the question, and this is a solution for it. Okay, so we did something about promise. We did something about the callback L. And one last thing which I will just explain, and I will explain next time also this thing, just to show the beginning part. So here we use resolve, and we are able to get the result in the dot del. But if I use reject, then it will not go inside dot then, it will go inside dot catch. So I have to put dot catch again here, and I'll put arrow function here inside catch, and here some error will come, and I can say console.log error is err. So this err is nothing but whatever I pass it here as a mango. So whenever I reject it, whatever I pass it, it will go inside as an error, and I can console that error like this one. So if I run it again, so you will see I'm getting error as mango. So whenever we are rejecting it, it will not go inside dot then, it will go inside dot catch. So let me add this one thing in one of my notes. So we can, let me put inside one of the notes. Let me put this part. Okay, I updated one of the page. So here you will see this is the good case, and this is the rejected case where I use the dot catch. So this is another thing which I want to explain, dot catch part. Still the things are not done. We are trying to avoid this callback hell, and to avoid the callback hell, we are using the promises. But still we have not reached the promise at that part of the promise where we are exactly avoiding this callback hell, and we're making much cleaner code. Though we are using dot then, but it is still not a very cleaner code which we want. We will be reaching to that point soon in next class or next to next class. Let's see how much we can do in the next class. So the whole goal of is that we have to avoid this callback hell. And we started using the promise, but promise is also, we have not reached that point that callback hell is completely avoided, and we should have proper cleaner code. I will also create one more page of exercise 2, and I want everyone to do that exercise before we come for the next class. So let me put this in one of the another page, and everyone should try to do that. Okay, so this is some kind of homework you have to do. Let me create the page, and I'll give you. Okay, let's do. I created the page. Publishing. Okay, let me give you the page. Let's put it here. I'll give you in the chat also. so that you can click. So this is the thing which you have to do. So you have to print out the program started at the start of the code. Then you have to create a promise that will resolve after 3 seconds and reject after 2 seconds. So you have to write down the code which will resolve after 3 seconds and reject after 2 seconds. And you know that whatever comes first, it will be taken as a state and second will not come. So in this case, reject will come first and resolve will not come. So it will not even come in the picture, but you have to write the code for both. It should resolve after 3 seconds and reject after 2 seconds. Then it will log the promise while it's in the pending state. Then you have to print out the program in progress, and then you have to write down then statement with program complete, and you have to write down catch statement with the program failure. So this is something you have to do yourself, and you have to give me before you come to the next class. Okay, I have battery problem. Any questions on this one?
Sir, like for previous classes, where I can find the exercises?
Okay, this is the first day of the class. Other classes I took a couple of years back, so don't worry about those. This is the first day, and you have to start from today. Okay, you're getting me? Okay, 1 second. Wait 1 second. I'll let me before I close. Let me put the charging. Okay. Okay. So can you hear me now? Wait. Hello. Yeah.
No, we can hear.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the 4 pages which we did today. Callback L, promises, exercise 1 and exercise 2. Still the promise is not done yet. We have to do a lot more in the promise, and after that there is a topic called async await, which is also related to promise, which will really avoid our callback hell, which we will do tomorrow. The class will be every day, 7 p.m. PST, US time, 7:30 IST, India time in the morning. Okay, so we will, and I will give all this link in the Telegram group also. And if you have any questions, you can ask me now. 1 second, I'll do that. Yeah, hello. Yeah, so any questions you have, any concerns, any